Hey guys, this is Cheney180, and today we're going to be taking a look at the amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Venom. This figure, Jesus, upon opening it, the bottom torso fell off, which knocked off the leg, so I had to glue the leg back on. It wasn't broken, but the glue had come off. For some reason, this isn't a Revoltech joint here. I've seen that happen to a bunch of other people. And this joint here in the hip was extremely loose. You couldn't, do that. It would just, the top is so heavy for it. Yeah, so I've had nothing but problems with it right upon opening. However, after I fixed it, it's a pretty nice figure. It's just, if you get one that's, doesn't have those QC issues, you're straight. So let's get a closer look here and check this guy out in all of his glory. So you've got, his mouth there with his tongue. It's painted with like a, it's got like a gloss on there to make it look shiny and wet like it should. He's just covered in muscles and veins everywhere, which is cool because, that's the way Venom should look, right? And you've got a peg here for the stand, and you've got a peg down here and a peg down here for his tendrils that you get with the figure. So we'll go ahead and take a look at those real quick. And they're actually pretty neat because with Revoltech, you can pull out the joint. So there's actual, like, you can kind of somewhat of customability. I don't remember. Anyway, you can get it kind of the way you exactly want it. So, you can pull these pieces off, and they have the ratcheting Revoltech joints in there. As you can see here, the sculpt is pretty nice. We've got some silver paint towards the end to kind of replicate some form of blades. And you get that ×2 for the left and the right. The cool part is you can pull the hand out, peg this in, and make it look like he's got, these coming out of his hands, which is neat. Then you also get this little cap piece for a different set of eyes, if I don't drop it. And you can swap that out on the top, and I'll go ahead and do that for you in a second. So let's go ahead and pop off this hand real quick and just pop on this tendril. As you can see, it just plugs right in. So you can have him, doing Venom stuff, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get into articulation, and then I'll pop this off and show you guys how that works. So in the neck here, there's a double ball joint. The bottom ball joint pegs into the back here, and this is all one big kind of like solid piece. So you don't really get any left or right movement that much, and this jaw wiggles back and forth for some reason. And his tongue comes out, so you can close his mouth, which is cool. And at the end of the tongue is a ball joint as well, which is pretty cool. So you can move it around and have ease. Now, he does look down that far, and he looks up about that far, but this joint is all loosey-goosey, and the jaw is loosey-goosey. On the shoulder here, it looks like you get a just a normal Revoltech joint in there in the shoulder. And it moves there, up, all the way around pretty much. I mean, this is hitting, so you're not going to get it to go fully around. As you can see, it'll make it pop out. Now, what's really interesting is there's this kind of swivel back joint here. And you can move it forward to drop down, I guess, to get better articulation for him being hunched over, I guess, which looks cool. You can get him to crouch down fairly well. But like I said, that jaw piece is just annoying. And I try pushing the head in because the head here It's also on a peg, and like the way that this sets, it just kind of hovers over that ball peg. There's nothing really like holding it in place, so it gets kind of like crooked jawed, and it's annoying. But back to this. So this moves up and down like so. So you get a decent amount of motion there. You get another ball joint here, which swivels on both ends and ratchets back and forth. Then you get another ball joint in the wrist, which swivels all the way around and ratchets. You get there's another Revoltech joint in here in the thumb, but you can't get that much movement. It's mostly just a swivel. The fingers are on basically hinges, so there's no actual Revoltech joints in there. The two smaller fingers are together and the two bigger ones are separate. So you can be like, oh yeah, that's good. That's good, baby. That's good. So we've got a joint here. Here, let's just pull it apart so you can see. You've got just this joint in the torso here. And that's all that's holding the top of him together from the bottom of him. And it crunches down like super far. You get some gapping back here, but you really can't tell because the figure is so dark. And then it goes back that far. And once again, you get swivel in there, and then you get swivel on the bottom as well. Just gotta, like I said, I glued mine in, so it's not glued in permanently. I just put some glue in there to tighten up the joint because it was horrific. The legs go out about that far, and they kick up that far, and you can kind of kick them out a little bit more. They don't really go back, and then the knees are a single hinge, and they go down that far and up that far. And then you get another Revoltech joint at the ankle, which gives you wonderful pivot, you know, decent range of motion. Everything looks good. And then you get a toe hinge too. So I mean, the guy has got a really decent amount of articulation. I apologize. You know, if it came out of the box like this with no issues, I mean, I would probably like it a lot more. But the fact that there's so many quality issues with the figure, it makes it hard for me to, you know, fully enjoy the figure in all its glory. Now, not only can you peg these into the hands, but you got this little peg hole back here. Then you can pop it into his back, which looks pretty cool, as you can see. And you can swivel that around any which way you want. And then you can even take, you know, one of these little ones off of here, and they peg in as well. So like I said, there's a lot of different combinations that you could go with for him. There's a lot of different things that you can do, which is pretty neat. One thing I don't like about the figure is he's kind of suffering from that bigger, I guess, Marvel Universe style, kind of like shorter buff figure, I guess, if that's what I'm going for. Because in comparison, you've got Deadpool's about that high, and Spider-Man is about that high. I feel like Venom should be taller. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. It just seems like, you know, he should be a little bit more massive. You know, he's technically almost shorter than Spider-Man. Almost. I mean, if you put his head up a little bit, then yeah, but, you know, he's kind of stumpy for this big of a figure. You know, I was thinking he should probably be about, you know, this tall. That would make more sense. Let's see. Here he is next to a Marvel Legends Venom. And here he is next to another Marvel Legends Eddie Brock Venom. And that one's the this one's Flash Thompson, but this one's Eddie Brock. So yeah, I mean, he's still big, don't get me wrong. You could probably mix him in with your Legends fairly well. It's just, I don't know, man, this figure got to me right out the gate. It's you know, I can't say I recommend it just because the gamble you're going to take on the QC. You know, you don't know if you're going to get something that's going to fall apart on you right out of the box, or if you're going to get something that's, you know, going to be good. I've seen a lot of people get decent versions, and I've seen a lot of people get, you know, junky versions. So I don't know what's going on here. However, I do prefer the Deadpool and the Spider-Man over this Venom. I really hate to speak badly about it because I was so excited and, you know, anticipating the figure that, you know, it kind of sucks that it's not what I thought it was going to be. You know, I wanted more out of it. So with that being said, guys, you know, if you really are into the line, you know, and you really like Venom, then probably it's still going to be a buy. But, you know, I paid upwards to, plus shipping and everything, was like $75 for this guy. So I know he goes for maybe even more than that now. $75 that falls apart right out of the box. I can't recommend saying that you guys should buy that. I just can't. I can't justify that by any means. So yeah, it's, if you don't, you know, if it's something that you're on the fence about and you're like, maybe, I don't know, I would recommend not getting it. If you're absolute just have to have every Venom, then obviously you got to pick this thing up. But other than that, you know, on a good note, I do like it now that I got it fixed, but, you know, since it did fall apart so easily, I can't recommend picking it up. So now that I've said that about 17 times, thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to leave me a comment, click subscribe, and I'll see you next time.